Okay, so I'm going to get us ready in 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to Oh My Health, There Is Hope. I'm your host, Jana Short, and today I'm here with Dr. Staci Whitman. Dr. Staci is a graduate of the Institute of Integrative Health, where she earned her international certificate in health and lifestyle coaching. Aside from health coaching, Dr. Staci is a board-certified pediatric dentist in Portland, Oregon, where she offers a whole-body, holistic, and functional approach to her patients' care. Her passion is to educate people to feel empowered over their own well-being, and she believes diet is a key to overall health. By finding the root cause, I love the little pun there, of disease, she is better able to make holistic recommendations to help guide you and your family to optimal health. I love what you're doing. I'm already a huge fan, and we just met.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jana.
I am super excited to have you on this show. I always say that, but I really am excited because it's very hard for me to find someone who works in the holistic field that deals with children. Oddly enough, it's very hard to find out there.
Yeah. Well, we've received a great response to it. There aren't many of us doing more holistic, natural, non-toxic, and functional therapies for kids, but it's really, I think we're headed in that direction. And I think platforms like yours is really helping to spread the awareness to more parents and more providers about the importance of looking at the whole body, especially starting with such young children who are so influenced by exposures in their environment and their systemic health as well.
Well, I would definitely love at Oh My Health, There's Hope. We always ask you to share your story of hope. So I would love it if you'd share that with us.
Absolutely. So, I practiced traditional dentistry for quite a while, and I definitely had an aha moment, which many dentists who have transitioned into a more holistic functional practice have. But my mother passed away suddenly from cancer, and it really threw my world upside down. And I also was feeling as a dental provider that I really wasn't making a lot of change. I was diagnosing cavities and fixing them, and then the children were leaving, but I wasn't really getting to the root causes and taking the time to educate parents about all the things that they could be doing, just simple tweaks daily with diet and breathing and sleep that can really keep their children healthy, not only their oral health, but their overall systemic health. And so I kind of put it all together, and I finally was able to open my own office where my hope is to really create a cavity-free world. I mean, I believe that can happen. Cavities are almost 100% preventable. A lot of that, the rise in cavities can be linked back to the agricultural and industrial revolution. Our diet is a huge influencer on that. And so just by educating parents, we're just hoping to create change and prevention and set children and communities up for more holistic, whole body, and overall wonderful health.
I know when we were talking a little earlier, one of the reasons you said you moved to pediatric dentistry was because you recognized with adults that there was still so much stigma and fear with dentistry, and you couldn't create a change there. But you could possibly create a change if you started working with them as children. So what are some of the things that you can do to create change in your kids are going to the dentist now?
Well, yeah, so it's so sad that so many adults have these terrible memories of seeing the dentist. I mean, it stays with them forever, or it can. And so my biggest goal with a child is not necessarily their tooth and the filling and what they need dentally. It's more, what is their experience going to be like here? Are they going to leave thinking that was easy, that they had a positive experience with the dentist, that was relatively pain-free? So we do focus so much on the mindfulness and the overall kind of systemic emotional component to the child coming to the dentist. I receive a lot of second consult opinion type of things where, the parent's been told the child needs anesthesia and they need all these root canals and crowns. And they come and see me, and a lot of times we can work together to prevent all that kind of emotional trauma for the parents and for the children as well, by doing acclimation visits. We do dress rehearsal visits. We kind of get the children more comfortable in the dental environment to set them up for success, and always trying to keep it positive and light, because really I want kids to think that the dentist is fun and safe, and as a result they're more likely to have more passion for their oral hygiene into adulthood and less fear. And that's a huge goal of mine.
Well, one of the things I did as a parent, and now my kids are doing as parents, is we took our kids really early on to the dentist so that there was no trauma, because it was just a visit, a hello, get to know you, this is a safe space, and fun because they got to pick out their toothbrushes, right? And do all this fun stuff. So I think one of the things we can do as parents to start relieving some of that fear is be introducing them as soon as possible to the dentist, so that it's not always because of a toothache or a cavity or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So we recommend children come in around the age of 1, or when their first teeth erupt. Personally, I like to see them as young as possible, because we're looking at growth and development issues as well. Whether they have, lip ties, tongue ties, but, as soon as a tooth comes in, it can get a cavity. So early introduction, you're right, is that exposure. We call them happy visits. And then also, children do feed off their parents' anxiety and their past traumas too. So we talk a lot about emotional energy to families as well. And that even though, perhaps you had a negative experience as a child, we reassure them that our goal is that your child's going to have a very positive experience. And so, trying to take a team approach that way, the guardians have to be on board as well. But we've had so much good success. I mean, most kids leave very happy here, and it's so important that it's a priority of my team. The number one priority is that children leave with a positive experience.
So one of the other things I want you to explain to us is the word is coming out a lot now about holistic dentistry or homeopathic dentistry. And how is that different from going to like your regular dentist?
Well, I also like the term functional dentistry. So holistic originally, I mean, it's meaning the whole body. So you're looking at all systems. You're also looking at your materials, your exposures to toxins. Functionally, what I do at my office is we're looking a lot at sleep and airway. It's a very important component. Sleep, in my opinion, is the best medicine for our bodies. It's so critical. So many of us are not getting quality sleep, especially kids. And it affects the way we're growing. It affects brain development, but it actually can contribute to cavities too. So children who tend to snore or breathe through their mouths while they sleep, their mouths get more dried out and they tend to be at a higher cavity risk. So really, instead of just coming in and, I look at the x-rays and I say you have a cavity and now you need to come back and get a filling, we sit and we spend a lot of time talking about why perhaps that cavity is there so that we can prevent it. So the educational, and again, the root causes is so incredibly important. We spent so much time talking at this office. Our appointments are much longer. We're looking at all systems, not only sleep, but kind of the emotional health of the parents and the child. We ask about, how was the pregnancy? How was childbirth? Any toxin exposures? I mean, we really go through all the systems, not just the teeth. We look really far beyond teeth. So I think that's unique. It's certainly different than the way I was trained to practice and the way I used to practice. And then also, we're really respectful of trying to find more natural and holistic toxin-free options for families, whether it's with their dental products or what we use for materials here in the office. We do talk about homeopathic medicines and things here as well. And we really just try to listen to parents and their concerns, because ultimately, parents just want what's best for their kids, and so we spend a lot of time just engaging and listening to the parents, which I think in a normal pediatric dental office it can be a pretty fast-paced experience. And so we slow it down a lot and really try to create more connection and communication with the children and the families too.
Well, I want to transition a little bit because you've taken this even a step further by, getting educated as a coach. And how do you integrate that into what you're doing now?
Yeah, so the health coaching is fairly new. It was a coincidence, but I wrapped up my studies at the Institute of Integrative Nutrition in March. And shortly thereafter, I was told my office had to close due to coronavirus. So it really prompted me to launch my health coaching platform. And part of the reason was the response from the community, both locally but also globally, was really beautiful. I mean, wonderfully overwhelming. So I would receive messages from families in Europe and across the United States and Hawaii and Japan. And I realized that people really want this information. They want this education that we're providing at my office. So I kind of put all the pieces together and realized that I could be of more service using my coaching platform on a global level, trying to educate parents of how to better care for their child's oral health, but ultimately, as a result, their systemic health too. And it's been wonderful. I mean, parents are so receptive and they're really thirsty for this information. And my favorite thing is teaching. So it's been a good fit. We've had a great response from it.
So we've had a couple of guests come on and their story of hope had to do with something that happened in their mouth, oddly enough, that caused huge health issues.
Yeah.
And when they couldn't find the root cause of it and found out later that it had to do with a bad infection that had been going on in their mouth or something that had been missed. I don't think people really connect their dental health to their overall health and what could be going on. And I didn't either until I heard these two stories. And I was blown away about the horrible health condition that came out of something that could have been so easily taken care of.
Unfortunately, there's a real disconnect between medicine and dentistry. That's a whole other story, but basically, medicine and dentistry have always been separate. And I think because of that, it's created this stigma that they're separate. But, our teeth and our mouths are part of our body. They're the gateway into our body. And we now know so much about the oral microbiome and its connection to our gut microbiome. I mean, it truly is all connected. And so I'm blessed to have such wonderful colleagues in Portland who are holistic functional adult dentists who will address, infections like failing root canals and, mercury fillings and cavitations and things of that nature that, really can go overlooked. And so I'm so happy to see platforms like this, and then also on social media, where I do think it's slowly the word's out that, oh, the teeth and mouth are connected, So if you've been having chronic headaches or just this, weird systemic autoimmune issues, it is really important on your differential diagnosis to be looking in the mouth and at the teeth too. And I think more and more, particularly functional medicine doctors and naturopathic doctors it's on their checklist now, is to ask about dental health, which is really important.
It is really important. And again, there is a disconnect from us connecting those two things together, and they really are hand in hand.
Yeah. And especially, I just, I get a lot from parents, well, they're just baby teeth. Why are we spending all this time on baby teeth? And again, it's that systemic connection. If there are cavities, that's a sign of dysbiosis, or that there's more bad bacteria in the body, or there's more acid in the body. We're out of balance. Teeth should not be decaying. Their enamel is the hardest substance in the body. It's like bone. So we really need to emphasize that cavities aren't inevitable, and they are a big deal, and we need to kind of make changes. We're lucky that baby teeth do fall out. It's almost like Mother Nature gives us a second chance. But they're also so important for social impacts and speech and chewing and airway. I mean, just so many, they guide the adult teeth into the mouth. So I think we haven't given the oral cavity enough credit. And I'm happy that slowly people are trying to take their oral health more seriously.
Well, one of the things you said earlier, which I keep thinking about, is that you believe cavities can be completely a thing of the past.
Yeah, I do. I think they're 100%, nearly 100% preventable. We do hear a lot. Families come in, and any dentist listening will be nodding their heads. But we hear about soft teeth a lot. You know, my family has soft teeth. That really isn't so much of a thing. To be really simple, that's kind of the epigenetics idea, that just because you have a family history of that, that does not mean it's your destiny. So maybe you need to tweak things in your diet or lifestyle to make yourself more make yourself less likely to get cavities, but it's certainly not your destiny. So my dream is a world without cavities. You know, they've talked about creating a vaccine for it. I'm not speaking of that. I mean, truly prevention through diet and lifestyle and airway. You know, breathing through our noses is so important too, and that's part of the functional dentistry component. Yeah, so I'm just working with families, and that is a life goal, and I hope to see it in my lifetime. Cavities are, the number one disease and chronic disease in children. They're on the rise in preschool children. It's really sad, and we contribute a lot of it to our changes in diet and the increase in processed foods and snacking frequency and things of that nature. So we're working slowly at it as a community.
So I love that you pointed out the fact that we are seeing more and more of this at an earlier age.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that one of my grandsons had braces, and before he had braces, he had to have a root canal. And I was thinking, a root canal, that's for old people.
Yeah.
Young
Yeah.
people don't have root canals, but he had to have a root canal.
Yeah. And we want to catch things early. So the earlier you can get your children into the dentist. I mean, I know there's still dentists out there that are saying don't bring your children in until they're 3 or until they're 5. But the basic accepted international guideline is around 1. But again, I feel just as soon as a tooth erupts is an appropriate time to bring your child in for that exposure. Because again, so much of it is just educating the parent about the importance of a hygiene routine, but even more so how our diet can impact our dental health, and also airway assessment. How is your child sleeping and how are they breathing is hugely important for your dental health too.
Well, I know a lot of people listening are going to want to find out how they can connect with you. So
Yeah.
how can they connect with you to ask questions or to be part of your coaching program?
Sure. So if you're in the Pacific Northwest, my office is called NoPo Kids. We're in North Portland, which was referred to as NoPo. And then I have a lot of information on my Instagram platform too. I do videos and educational posts, and that's Dr_Staci, and doctor spelled out Staci with an I. But my health coaching platform is Happy Health. Dr. Staci's Happy Health, and it's happyhealthco.com. And we are technically seeing patients. We kind of did a soft launch, but next week we're full throttle, and you can book a one-on-one consultation with me. And we have different packages and things available too for families.
I love it. I think you're amazing. And it's very rare that I get to have somebody on here that really is directed towards children. And so I'm really grateful for you to coming on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.